Every year at this time, I refer to Lake Superior State University and their annual list of banished words. What should we stop saying in 2026? I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, commentary, or story from our lives.
Season 19, Chapter 6.
Banished
Words
2026.
I've been following this annual list for years. I used to have a representative from Lake Superior on my radio show back in the day, and I've also been covering this list on my podcast for a while now. Lake Superior State in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, has published this list annually for over 50 years. During the year, they accept submissions and suggestions from the public for words and phrases that are either overused or consistently misused. It's a list of 10 in random order. Always one of my favorite year-end lists. Let's dive in. Lake Superior State University's list of banished words for 2026. First up this year, the term reach out. Reach out makes a return to the list. It was first banished in 1994, but I guess not enough of us got the message. Reach out is on the list for overuse. It used to be a genuine expression of emotional support. Hey, if you need any help, don't be afraid to reach out. Now it's just something we say to make it seem like we care. Next, my bad. Used as an apology. Seems okay, huh? It's like taking responsibility. Oops, my bad. But it has become overused, and the big complaint against it is it sounds insincere. Also making a return to the banished list, gift. Gift used as a verb. Gift as a verb has a long history. The correct word, of course, is give. I give this to you. But many instead say, I gift this to you. Personally, I don't find this particularly annoying. We use a lot of nouns as verbs. We brainstorm, we blue sky, we dialogue and catalog, and we spitball. We Google and Netflix. The goal of an Olympic athlete is to medal or podium. We action, impact, service, table, and chair. Sometimes it's up to the chair to table. Technically speaking, the word verb is a noun, and using a noun as a verb is to verb, or verbing. I'd sooner see the word verbing banished. But back to the list. Gift as a verb on the Lake Superior State University's list of banished words. And of course, even the word list here is a noun, but we often use it as a verb. Next banished word, perfect. Usually a response to some service. How's that? Oh, perfect. Two things. One, it's likely not perfect. And two, how would anyone know if it is? Next term, full stop. Does that annoy you? People use it to emphatically punctuate finality. It is kind of annoying, isn't it? Same way that people like to end a debate with the phrase, end of story. That's the way it is, end of story. Hold it. You don't get to decide when the story ends. End of story, full stop? Don't think so, pal. That's full stop, end of story. Continuing. Next up, incentivize, as in to motivate. In which case, what's wrong with motivate? Well, why just motivate when you can incentivize? And here we go again. It's also the verbing of a noun. I'm motivated by my employer, but incentivized by the bonus. Perhaps I'm bonuspired. Also banished for the coming year. Massive. Overused and often incorrectly used. It's like perfect. Is it really perfect? Is it really massive? What's your definition of massive? You know, if you keep saying massive, what will you say when something really massive comes along? Next, cooked, as in done, over, fried, baked. Cooked. My brain is cooked. Yes, but obviously not well done. Also, Demure. Odd, because I haven't really heard it used that much, have you? The term, usually used about a woman, means reserved, modest, and shy. Reserved, modest, and shy. Boy, there's three qualities you don't see much of anymore, anywhere. For some reason, though, demure is on the list. And finally, Lake Superior State University's top banished word for 2026, 6-7. I covered that term on my year-end show a couple of weeks ago. Said mostly by young teens and tweens. No one is sure what it means because apparently it has no real meaning. It's just a term invented by young people to confuse adults, which it did. So those are the banished words for 2026, as recommended by the people and curated by Lake Superior State University. Reach out, my bad, gift, perfect, full stop, incentivize, massive, cooked, demure, and 6-7. As always, they also added some honorable mentions. Lexicon, we should banish. Absolutely. At the end of the day, awesome, game changer, and hot water heater. That last one has always bugged me. It's a water heater. If the water was already hot, why would it need to be heated? It's from what we used to call the Department of Redundancy Department. Of course, in our society today, we not only heat the hot water, we look at our past history and we plan ahead. We join together, stay in direct contact and close proximity. We protest against, and the end result may be an unexpected surprise. Again, this year's main list, though, is reach out, my bad, gift, perfect, full stop, incentivize, massive, cooked, demure, and 6-7. I'm going to compare this to last year's recommendations. In other words, we weren't supposed to say these words in 2025. Did it work? I noticed some similarities. Last year was cringe, which is kind of like the opposite of perfect. Game changer, last year's list, this year's honorable mentions, is like saying something is massive. Last year's list included era, dropped, IYKYK, which is actually a text short form for if you know, you know. Last year was sorry not sorry, which is kind of like saying my bad. 100%, utilize, and period, which is another way of saying full stop. If you Google, the verb Google Lake Superior State University, and you can easily find past banished words lists for the last several decades, plus an easy way for you to submit a term or a phrase that drives you crazy that you would like to see banished in the future. For example, for years I had submitted the term 100%, the term referring to being in complete agreement with a person or statement. Oh, 100%. That finally made the list. A few months ago I heard this term, hundo P. You ever heard that, huh? It's apparently what all the kids were saying. Instead of saying 100%, they just said, oh, hundo P. I actually kind of liked that term. I was going to start using it. Luckily, beforehand, I checked in with my son and my daughter. Yeah, Dad, hundo P. It's like 5 years ago. No one is saying it anymore. Okay, thanks. Got it. Hundo P, got it. My peeve these days is that 100% just doesn't seem to cut it anymore. It's not enough. I guess it's been adjusted for inflation. People in total agreement these days say instead, oh yeah, 1,000%. Wow, all right, thanks. I would have accepted 100, but I'll take 1,000. Here's another one that I have been submitting for a few years now. I was sure it would make the list this year. It did not. Walk me through. It is so overused and used as a crutch, if you'll pardon the expression, by news anchors and media interviewers who are too lazy to come up with a real question for the guest. So they just say, walk me through. Walk me through what's happened so far. Walk me through your theory on economics. Walk me through the idea behind your book. Stop saying walk me through. First of all, I'm surprised that the PC police aren't all over this. Is a phrase inappropriate for those with disabilities. If the interviewer was in a wheelchair, would they say, roll me through? And listen, I was in media for years. I've probably done thousands of interviews. And admittedly, sometimes you're thrown an interview last minute, or for other reasons not totally or properly prepared. But even then, you could still think of something else to say other than walk me through. How about just tell me what just happened? Give us a synopsis of your philosophy. Share what you know so far. Anything other than walk me through. And now that I've pointed it out, you will hear it all the time. I always yell at the TV when a person says walk me through. Hey, think of a real question. I'll keep submitting it. Here's one that when I first started to hear it, it bugged me, and now I kind of like it. Have you noticed that so often in general population, the phrase, you're welcome, has been replaced by, of course? A you're welcome substitute has been tried before with the phrase, no problem. Thank you, no problem. Now, someone holds the door for you, you say thank you, and they say, of course. It grew on me. It's not so much that you are welcome, which you probably are, but that my behavior is just a matter of course. This is how I do things. This is how I roll. Yeah, this is how I roll has probably been banished, right? Anyway, am I reading too much into it? I noticed, too, that mostly younger people say, of course, instead of you're welcome. I like it, so I will not be submitting that to be banished just yet. Speaking of year-end word lists, there's always those words of the year from 2025 as declared by various dictionaries, as opposed to banished. The implication here is that this is a word of the future we can expect to hear a lot of. Perhaps one day we will overuse it and try to banish it eventually, but in 2025, Merriam-Webster said their word of the year was slop. Slop is what we now call low-quality AI content. Gosh knows we see a lot of that. It's clearly crap, obviously slop. It's actually the high-quality AI that worries me more. Webster also cited rage bait, digital content designed to encourage anger for engagement. That's getting the clicks at any cost. Oxford University Press highlighted the term parasocial, a one-sided relationship online with a public figure or AI. Parasocial. Dictionary.com's word of the year was 6-7. I got to thinking, does every language in the world have words and phrases that are constantly overused? And then I thought, gee, how ethnocentric of me to think that they don't. Yes, every language has their fillers, their discourse markers, and various overused terms. Les plus galvaudés. This annual Lake Superior State list is merely suggestion, words that should be banished. Should, but, there are no language police, not officially, although I'm sure sometimes we wish that there were. And even though we go through this exercise every year, some words and phrases manage to live on. I did go through their archives. From some of the past lists, here's some greatest hits that still get played. What do you think of these terms from the 80s? The bottom line, la-di-da, for sure. That's the 80s version of saying hundo P. Oh, for sure. User-friendly. Yeah, shouldn't everything be user-friendly? Up to speed. Let's do lunch. And, of course, by and large. By and large, used in, a summation. Well, by and large, this is what it looks like to me. What does that even mean? Never got it. To me, by and large, sounds like a good description of Miley Cyrus. Banished in the 1990s? Get with the program. Family values. Done deal. Multitasking. And hello, as in, are you getting this? Do you understand? Hello?
Hello?
So far in the 21st century, we've tried to banish. It's all good. That's like saying no worries. I've actually heard people say them both together. Oh, it's all good, man, no worries. How about have a good one? A good what? Also banished, no-brainer. It is what it is. It is? Well, what is that? Man up, nothing burger, ginormous. I assume that's a portmanteau of gigantic and enormous. I guess either of those words on their own was just not good enough to describe bigness, so we came up with ginormous. And if ginormous, why not big gigantuan, huge-gantic? How about humonstrous? Here's one they tried to banish about 20 years ago, and I still think we should try to banish it for overuse. Well, and of course misuse. Breaking news. Breaking news. Remember about 3 or 4 years ago when CNN went through several changes in management in a short time? Well, the first new guy said, we're going to cut back on saying breaking news because we say it all the time for everything, and now it's meaningless. He was right. And they did cut back, and I enjoyed that. But then suddenly that guy was out, and the new guy said, oh yeah, damn rights we're going to say breaking news. It seems to get people's attention. Well, it's just too much. Not everything is breaking news. When a nut job shoots up a school, that's breaking news. When he's apprehended, that's breaking news. 3 days later, when he makes his first court appearance, that's not breaking news. That's a developing story. On CBC, breaking news is actually part of their logo. They use the logo slide even when they're going into commercials. So if you're not really paying attention and you look at the screen and it says breaking news, you go, oh, what's that? And then apparently it's that Downey adds extra softness. Anyway, breaking news, all those others, those were some of the greatest hits. And once again, this year's banished list is reach out, my bad, gift, perfect, full stop, incentivize, massive, cooked, demure, and 6-7. There are 2 words, I think only 2 in the English language, that are constantly overused. Well, maybe there's more than 2, but here's the 2 that I think of. And though overused, I'll bet no one would ever suggest they be banished. They are the words cool and the F-bomb. Not the term F-bomb, but the actual F-bomb, which I could say here because it's only a podcast and there are no rules, but I'm old school. It's still very difficult for me to say the F-bomb anywhere near a live microphone. I'd be less bothered saying it in a room full of nuns than I would next to a live microphone. Apparently, the F-bomb first appeared in print as far back as the 15th century. It was that Christopher Columbus, no doubt, foul-mouthed sea captain that he was. The word cool to mean excellent or stylish. Well, that only goes as far back as the 1930s, apparently, from African-American jazz culture. We banish words, phrases come in and out of style, but cool has been cool for almost a century and will always be cool. And the F-bomb, well, nothing beats it. And together, well, that's just effing cool.
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's podcast YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.